All right. Welcome to Forward Down the Field, a new podcast for a new Detroit Lions team. I'm Sam Goodman, joined by my co-host, Ben Bosher. We both cover the Detroit Lions for GridironHeroics.com, and we'll be taking you inside the den for a fan's perspective on the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Twitter at Sam_Goodman18 and Ben at BosherBen. Find the show at FDF Podcast. Give us your thoughts every episode. You know we want to encourage all of that interaction, so please engage on social media. Ben, how we doing?
Yep. I think you said in the intro, a new podcast for a new Lions team, but this really just felt like the same old Lions. Cover the spread, don't get it done, make it exciting, and you just can't get it done at the end. It was insane that game reminded me of every single game to ever exist in the history of the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I was following along, doing some live tweeting while I was writing, and I saw Jeremy Reisman post giving him some 49ers 2020 or 2021 in opening day vibes, and I'm like, it was that exact same game.
No, it was, and the crazy thing was, I was at the game, and it was just electric from the very start, and we never really got too far out of it. What was it? I guess it was at one point it was 7-21, but I think that was the biggest difference in score, because we never had. It was just frustrating, dude. Because so first of all, in the introductions, they didn't do the defense, which I thought was weird. But anyway, Jared Goff got a loud pop. The place was going crazy for him, and within the hour, everyone realized why did we this dude is just not that good. And it was just so frustrating because we were just reminded so quickly that Jared Goff he'll get us down the field sometimes, but there'll be wide open guys and he'll miss them, and that kind of stuff did cost us the game today. There was a lot of stuff that cost us the game today, but it just felt like he would just go so cold sometimes and miss guys that were just wide open down the field. It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I think they said the most consistent lead the Eagles held was that 16-point lead that they kept getting because the Lions would score and then the Eagles would go down and score again. It was absolutely so frustrating because the defense couldn't get a break, and then the offense started moving and the defense would kind of let them down, or the offense would have to go 3 and out, and it's so frustrating. And yet Jared Goff, man, just missed a lot, and that pick six, you could say, cost him the game. There's a lot, again, as you said, there's a lot you can say cost him the game.
4 to 5 plays that legitimately cost us the game, that if one of those plays goes differently, the outcome of the game goes differently. But unfortunately, all 4 or 5 of those plays, we just weren't able to come through. It's as simple as that. Stopping Miles Sanders inside their own 20, he ends up running for 30 plus. It's just these little plays that caught, before the half, giving up a bomb down the field to A.J. Brown, and then they score and get the ball back at the end of the half. It's just these little things. And I know Campbell's definitely chewing them out for it. We're beating ourselves. I hate the people that say the same old Lions, but the beating yourself thing, that really is the Lions that we've grown accustomed to the last couple of years. And it's frustrating to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And this was a sold out crowd. You were there. It was electric.
It was popping.
And I mean, A.J. Brown after the game said he had to hand it to him. They couldn't hear anything the entire game. And yet the Lions had more penalties against them than the Eagles. They were fully beating themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And the miscommunications too. The Eagles had a better understanding of what they were doing without any ability to communicate than the home team. That's pathetic.
And the part that's so frustrating is I feel like most NFL defenses could have stopped what the Eagles were doing. I feel like 90% of their offense was crossers because our linebackers can't cover anybody, or Jalen Hurts doing whatever he wanted with his feet because, again, our linebackers can't stop anybody. And I'll honestly give it to Anzalone. I thought he had an okay game. I thought Rodrigo made a couple plays, but they're just not fast. They're not dynamic players necessarily. And when our young guys, we do have a bunch of young guys on the line, they're just over pursuing Jalen Hurts every single time, thinking that he's just not going to move. they're clearly they've been practicing with Jared Goff because they're just pretending the quarterback's not going to move and they'd be sprinting at him and he's quick enough. I'll give it to Hurts, man. He does not take sacks. Like, there were so many times we should have had him and we just didn't, and he just moves out of the way and avoids them completely. So I'll give it to him there, but man, we need to there's not as many good quarterbacks as Jalen Hurts, but we got to be able to stop that.
Yeah, in my preview article, shout out Gridiron Heroics, I wrote containment was going to be the key to the game. If you can contain him on the edges, on any single play where the play breaks down and he's going to scramble, you can win that football game. I mean, pretty flat out. Because if you hold him to the pocket, you saw he was not as successful. And, the Lions
he
failed
rushed
to do
for
that.
90 yards. He rushed for 90 yards. Like, we lost by 3, and he went for over 300 yards total. Like, we limit that to 50 yards, and that's a completely different
football game.
Yeah. And it's just frustrating to see. And also, I need to mention the fact that it is just stupid that he can shovel pass it out of bounds, and it's not an intentional grounding. That is so stupid.
Two of those. Threw it 2 feet behind or 2 yards behind the line, no intentional grounding. Threw it out of bounds, no one's there.
Yeah, just the stupid shovel pass.
12 feet or without 12 yards.
Like, that's just so dumb that's not a pat. Like, I'm not saying, we should have won the game because that's just dumb. But, like, that's just a stupid rule. Why would anyone want to see... That's just an easy way to avoid a sack. I'm just going to run straight east and west, and as soon as I get close enough, just shovel pass it out of bounds. Like, that's just dumb.
That, and also he slid so late on so many plays. And, I don't blame Tracy Walker at all for getting ejected. I would 100% be frustrated because he slides so late and puts himself in those situations, and then it's a penalty. Like, what is the defender supposed to do? You play him until the play is over.
And there was a lot of plays that didn't get called like that, but the one that did, it was just like, what's the difference? It just didn't look like there was a difference between that one that got called and the ones that didn't get called.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Alex Anzalone got that unnecessary roughness call after hitting Jalen Hurts in the backfield on an RPO, and a lot of people were booing it because they're like, oh, that's a stupid penalty. Why are you hitting him there? And it's like, you have to play him. You have to play him.
Yeah, do you see what he's doing to us?
He's holding the ball in the last second. Like, you have to hit him.
Also, do you see what he's doing to us?
Exactly. He's going to run 40 yards if you don't. Like,
he was hard to stop. Our defense in general just was frustrating. I mean, I thought Hutchinson on the line was pretty good. He handled the person trying to guard it or defend him, whoever it was, on any given play pretty well. But I think he's got to learn to, once he does get in the backfield, to slow down a little bit. And you don't need to necessarily be going 100 miles an hour when it's just you and Jalen Hurts back there, because you're going to miss. Like, I'm sorry. You're a special athlete, but so is Jalen Hurts. And that is where he thrives, in open space. Like, you got to be able to break down and force him one way rather than going for the giant hit stick.
Yeah, there's a lot that also, like, in Aiden Hutchinson's film, when he was coming out of college, there were plays like that where he would over pursue the quarterback and they dump it off to the flats and it would go 20 yards because he couldn't contain. Stuff like that. When you get to the NFL level, you can't have that. But I do want to shout out Chris Board, the linebacker, kind of deep on the depth chart, but he got a lot of play, and he's really fast sideline to sideline, and he was one of the only guys who could consistently contain when Jalen Hurts got out of the pocket. So I do want to shout him out because the rest of the team could learn a lot from that.
I think, yeah. And also, we could not stop A.J. Brown. That was a problem. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Owarie, but when it felt like we were manning up a lot, and it just wasn't working. Like, it was. Tell me what you saw from the TV, because it's a little easier to see, like, the coverages and stuff with the replays on TV.
No, they were playing a lot of deep zones on third downs, which I thought was a little stupid, especially in the fact that, like, they're gonna sit under zones, especially with a guy like AJ Brown who can turn on a dime. Like, the way he's breaks in his routes, like, he's an insanely good route runner. So there was a play where Jeff Okudah gave up a third down conversion. I'm like, you know what? That's not really on him. That's more on the play calling. Because if you stick him in man, I'm fully convinced that he could use his insane reach and make that stop. But they played deep zones and tried to let the linebackers cover those, intermediate routes, and the linebackers have no ability to do that, like, at all.
AJ Brown ended up going for 155 yards, 13 targets, 10 receptions. The next highest, Dallas Goedert, 3 receptions for 60 yards. It was really 2 guys that beat us. It was AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, because Goddard, I mean, his longest reception was because
27,
of, like, yards after catch on a screen, so it wasn't even like he got up for a ball or anything. And also, AJ Brown lined up one-on-one with Will Harris at the end of the second, right? Like, that is the dumbest call you've got to see.
It's as much as I would like to give the Eagles credit, I just was not very impressed by either their offense or their defense, because it wasn't like they were just overpowered. Like, they're supposed to have this special run game, and that wasn't really what was happening. It was more of the Jalen Hurts improvising that really killed the Lions. And sure, if you want to go toot your horn and wave your flag that Jalen Hurts is amazing and did that, then go for it. But that's just not working against good defenses. Like, and I just don't think, I mean, Miles Sanders had 96 yards. One of them, he ripped a couple long ones. I just wasn't, like, totally impressed with their run game, despite the numbers being pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was the same thing as last year, where a lot of their run game came from their quarterback just being a natural athlete who can break out of bad spots and improvise.
Yeah, and his QBR was only 63. Like, he was 8 for 32 on passing attempts.
Exactly. When he was stuck in the pocket, I mean, he was not really comfortable. That's for sure. His best passing plays were when he was forced out, drew the extra linebacker to him, and he dumped it over their head.
That is one thing I'll give the Detroit Lions credit for. Like, we were in the backfield most plays. It's not like we just weren't getting to him. We were just over pursuing him, and he had these gaps, whether it was inside or outside, that he would just go crazy in.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to give credit to the secondary on pressure. Like,
yeah,
Mike
especially
Hughes,
to start the game.
Yeah, Mike Hughes had a great pressure on Jalen Hurts that caused an incompletion. Tracy Walker had a sack and multiple TFLs, I think. He's, he really dictated a lot of that energy. Yeah, tackle for loss there, tackle for loss. But still, it's so frustrating because some of those guys that shouldn't be in the backfield were in the backfield and playing smarter than the guys who are consistently up there.
It just shows that there might just be a lack of dudes on defense, and I think that's part of our concern coming into the season. But honestly, like, I say that, and then I think about it. I'm not the biggest hater on our defensive line. Like, I honestly think it's a little underrated. If Hutchinson can continue to be great, he still has a lot of improving to do. Like, I'm not saying he's an all-pro player yet by any means, but he has the physical traits and characteristics of being one of those guys. You know what I mean? And he's got some good pieces around him. It's the linebackers and partially the secondary, but mostly the linebacker. Like, if we're just gonna lose on crossing routes every week, then that's just gonna be it. I don't understand how we could stop that.
Yeah, it was unbelievable how slow the linebacking core played, and also their just inability to pick up guys who come out of the backfield. Yeah. It's like, you know how linebackers, like a lot of young linebackers, they say, oh, they're watching the running back too much. They're getting a little slowed down because they're trying to be perfect. It's the opposite for the Lions. They kind of just stand in their zone and then make no move or effort until the pass has been completed.
The defense is frustrating. The offense, however, I mean, the Eagles' defense is no joke, and we put up 35 on them. What do you have to say about that?
I was definitely impressed. I think it was a little interesting because we came into this game and we thought the defense was going to be what cost us this game if we lose, and the offense was going to perform a little better. And the offense, I mean, there were 3 straight 3-and-outs at one point in this game that just wore out the defense. But I think once they got into a rhythm, they looked a lot better, and I think the play calling could have been better too. But the run game was just unbelievable.
Oh my gosh! I do want to talk about the play calling and coaching of the game after we talk about the offense. But like, just focusing on the offense, holy cow, DeAndre, like,
Monster.
yeah, complete overreaction. We'll completely admit that now. Complete bias. This dude needs to be in consideration for like one of the best running backs in the NFL. Like,
Yeah,
I understand that's a complete overreaction to 1 week, but like it's not like all these vets like Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara. Like, these guys don't stay good. It never happens. Like, you're in and you're out very quickly in the elite running back category. DeAndre Swift might have kicked a few people out after this game because it's not like he was just. I don't even know. He was just a beast. Like, they could not stop him.
I mean, his first carry was 51 yards, and also he shoved over some people. Like, he fully ran with that physicality we've been wanting to see from him. He used that size, and it showed. I mean, his speed is unbelievable, but once he gets to that second level, he has a tendency to kind of try to break outside and then get ran out of bounds by the secondary. No, he just ran through people.
Now he's running hard at people and making them have to make the move rather than him trying to, be all fancy with it before they get to him. Now he's running so hard at people that all he has to do is make one cut and they just can't get to him rather than, trying to juke people out with all these like combos. And it's insane because his combination of speed and strength, I don't even know what to compare it to besides like, I mean, my friend at the game compared him to Alvin Kamara, which, I don't want to get too ahead of myself yet because I think he's a little different than his running style is a little different than the way Kamara runs, but he just runs so hard and aggressive that it's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's the Deuce Staley coaching rubbing off too, because it's a completely different DeAndre Swift running game and I mean, it is one game, but still completely different than all of last season. He had 9.6 average per carry, average yards per carry, which is, first of all, when's the last time you saw a Lion do that? And
never.
Second of all, that's a huge step up from 4 yards per carry last year because he's running through people. He's fighting for the extra yard. He wants it.
The poor guy didn't get. We had 3 rushing touchdowns. Jamal Williams was gifted 2 of them after Swift did all the dirty work. But what Swift was doing was just. That could really, really be the key to our offense. And I didn't think it was necessarily going to be coming into the year. But I can totally see us just using him as the Christian McCaffrey back. We're just giving it to him as much as possible, even though he only had 15 carries.
Yeah, exactly. And Jamal did get in there a good bit, especially on like crucial third downs and stuff, because he does still have that power in that fight. But
oh yeah,
pairing that with a lot of misdirection plays like DeAndre Swift, what he's doing, if you compare
those
that
counters.
Play actions and those counters onto misdirections, like there's so much you can do with this offense now. It's just a matter of going back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and we also have to give credit to the offensive line. I thought that was awesome. They were moving people. Like, the Eagles' D-line is no joke. They got Fletcher Cox. He's probably a future Hall of Famer. You got Jordan Davis, who we don't know if he's good, but he's like 500 pounds, so that's
Exactly.
something. They were moving people. Like, they really were, and I think DeAndre Swift's going to get a lot of love in this game, just fantasy-wise. He kind of popped off. I was playing against him twice, so it was kind of bittersweet to watch in person, but yeah, big credit to the offensive line. Great showing for them.
I really want to shout out Jonah Jackson for that. I mean, especially on that DeAndre Swift touchdown, you see he gets out perfectly to the edge, seals it, leads the block, plays physical, but he's so technically sound and he's great with lateral quickness, which is something you don't see from a lot of guards, especially at the highest level, because they're such vertical players in the run game. So that was really impressive.
I want to shout out Penei Sewell. I love that dude. He's just a beast.
He's a dog.
Absolutely someone you want on your team. All right, we've got them. Let's talk. I know we touched on Jared Goff a little bit, but let's just talk about the passing game as a whole. I don't even know how Jared Goff ended up with 215 yards. I really don't, because he had a passer rating of 48.9.
Yeah, he was struggling. Especially early on, he couldn't find a rhythm. He couldn't complete a pass. It's weird because you'll see him like overshoot the most wide open guy and then put the ball in the tightest windows and complete those, which is just, I don't get it.
Well, there was a stretch in the second quarter where, I mean, we were sitting up high, so we could kind of see the whole field up top, and he would just try to throw it to these guys that are being double covered. And I'm just sitting up there like, what? Like, if I can see that is just a stupid throw, what are you seeing, dude? Like, I don't mean to dog on him too much because I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
It was rough. He in preseason and even towards the end of last season, he looked a lot more comfortable than he did today, and we expected him to have that comfortability. That's what we heard, and that's what we saw. And he was efficient going through his reads. He delivered the ball quickly. He didn't overdo it. He knew his limitations. Today, it was
nope.
It was just over the top, unnecessary.
Yeah, it looks like he was playing on it looks like he was frazzled by the Detroit crowd. Also, shout out to them. Amazing. Also, I hate Philly fans like a lot. Like there were so many people there.
That's everybody.
In
Everyone
green.
hates Philly.
They traveled well. I'll give them that. That's the only thing I can give them.
Yeah, but Goff, I mean, he finished with 2 touchdowns, so like he did have some moments. It's just that pick 6 was terrible, and he almost threw another interception to Slay. And like, if we want to be a good team, like if we want to be at least competitive, he can't be making mistakes because our ceiling is his ceiling. Like,
and there, like even the plays that don't like, there wasn't a couple picks, but there's a few plays where it really did look like from the crowd touchdown, if not huge gain, and he just completely missed the throw. It was bad.
there were times like that. There was a time on 3rd down where you just didn't see T.J. Hawkinson wide open over the middle because he was getting pressured, and he forced balls. He got antsy, and like last year, there were bootlegs. You roll him out, and he'd hit the open guy because he's right in front of his face. Maybe get some of those involved next time, just to get him into a rhythm. Because he struggled with that, and I know the drops didn't help, but getting him into a rhythm is going to be really important in the next few games.
Yeah, I'd like to see a little bit more. Like we ran a little bit of play action, but like sometimes we run these counters and play. I want to see him like roll out. I know he's not the most athletic guy, but when we have the run game rolling like that. Why not have a play action rollout? Like,
yeah, those bootlegs.
Yeah, like why not? Especially when DeAndre Swift's running like that. There's a few times where it just looked like if that would have happened, Jared Goff would have had all the time in the world and nobody around him. But maybe next week.
Yeah, Commanders did win, so like a tough game.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence played pretty good too, as far as I know. I still haven't got the chance to watch a lot of it, but I'm looking at the receiving box score right now, and it's pretty much exactly what I thought it'd be. At least like to some extent. Like there's no superstar receiver on this team. That's not a secret. Like it's going to be spread out. That's going to be like we have a lot of B+ receivers, I'd say.
Especially until JMO comes back.
Yeah, because he's an A+, right?
Yes, he is the best.
But like I love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I think he's like a B+, like a B player. Like I think he's good. I think DJ Chark's like a B player. Like we just have a lot of good players, not necessarily a lot of great players. So it makes sense. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the most passing yards, 64, the most targets, 12, most receptions, 8. I would have liked to see a little bit more of him in the first half. It felt like we got him rolling in the second, but like, why not make this guy just a PPR machine? Like, why not just target this guy 15, 16 times a game? That's what I don't understand. Yeah, especially when JMO's not here.
Especially like, again, last year we were running a lot of those play action bootlegs, and he's just always on those crossers, and because of his size and his speed, he's always open. Why not run a few of those? You have such a strong run game, especially when it was doing so well. You can run those plays comfortably. They have to give you at least something on those.
DJ Chark, 4 receptions, 52 yards, 1 touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown also had a touchdown. He had 8 targets. I mean, I thought DJ Chark played pretty good. I don't expect him to be like this PPR machine like St. Brown is, but he did he caught 1 deep pass touchdown, and if he does that every game, that's exactly what we'd signed him for.
Exactly. He's that deep threat that we needed, and know what? He went up and he got a ball, and at the end of the day, like, that's his job.
I think it's very vital that Goff at least attempts to get it to him a couple times a game down the field, because he is a talented guy. I'm not calling him Mike Evans or anything, but he's a good jump ball getter. So, is that a thing? Jump ball getter?
Yeah, ball getter.
Jump ball getter. But yeah, he was good. And then after that, it was Hawkinson with 4 receptions for 52. I thought Hawkinson was pretty good.
Yeah, I liked especially he lowered the shoulder on a few plays, so like he had some good yard after catch plays. Nothing really stood out, but he did a lot right in the receiving game. I want to see more of him blocking though.
To be honest, I think we know what TJ Hawkinson is at this point. Like, I think for a while the Lions fan base wanted him to be a superstar. I think he's just a good tight end. I think he's just a really good tight end.
I think he's a solid tight end, but you know what? If he was a superstar, he could block too. But
You know, what's a little bit worrisome is how much money all these tight ends have been getting this offseason.
Terrifying.
It's a little scary.
It looks like with cap space wise, it might end up having to be a decision where it's like it's him or Swift, and like very clearly you choose Swift there.
Bye.
Exactly. Like Hawk's out. I'm sorry, but he's gone.
That's all I have for the offense. You want to add anything to that, or you want to get right into the coaching?
No, that's a good bit.
Game plan wise, what'd you think?
You know what? I'm just so unsure because, I like some of the play calling. I liked a lot of the defensive scheming from Aaron Glenn. Again, I wanted to see more containment, but I did like a lot of the matchups we saw other than that Will Harris play. But offensively, there's just so much to comment on.
Yeah, there's a lot of penalties. Wasn't a fan of that on offense. Wasn't a fan of the attempted onside with
Oh my God,
6 minutes to go.
Yeah, that was just
wasn't
stupid.
a fan of that. We got fun with it at the end of the year when there was nothing to lose and we started going for on fourth downs and fake punts.
This is the first game of the season.
Onsigns. Yeah, we don't need to be getting fancy with anything yet. We got to stop the next. I don't know. It was an interesting call. It wasn't close either. It went right to. I don't remember who came in with it, but it went right to him. Frustrating there. I don't know. It just felt like a lot of times there's no QB spy on Jalen Hurts, and if that wasn't your game plan going into it, then that's totally on the coaching staff. And if you didn't adjust, which it didn't feel like they did, also on the coaching staff. I feel like there was never even if the containment was broken, why was there not a QB spy on Jalen Hurts at least sometimes? Yeah,
I mean, I know they didn't want to kind of put too much on their zone coverage linebackers, but you have some quick guys. Derek Barnes is pretty fast, and especially in the run game, he's been really solid, especially last year he showed that he has the ability to cover QBs. Sit him in a QB spy position. Have him play a center zone and then be a QB spy as well. That's not a complicated thing. That's a scheme fit that so many teams have done, and it's that failure to adjust is painful because it's Jalen Hurts very obviously was doing a routine thing, and you just fail to adjust to anything.
It's very tough. Very tough. That's all I really have from the game, at least for now. In a later episode this week, I'm sure I'll have more from watching a little bit more and looking a little bit more into everything. That would be the preview episode for the Commanders. But for now, now I just need to soak it all in that we put up 35 points and lost. Didn't really see that happening.
Yeah, I wrote in the article that I wrote, I said it was going to be a shootout. That was just my prediction, but I did not think it was going to be. I said it was going to be a shootout if we won or we were going to get blown out. I did not see us putting up the points we put up and losing, and especially being in the game late and failing to make a defensive stop or
situational.
Exactly. It's the same things, biting yourself right in the butt. There's no point in there's no point in beating yourselves, and I know Dan Campbell's going to give them hell for that.
Good. You should. That's all I have. Is that all? You good?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this team or the Eagles team?
Yeah, I think we covered the bases here.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this podcast then. If you don't have anything else, please follow us on socials like Sam said at the beginning of the episode. FDF Podcast, Forward Down the Field Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I feel like I'm missing one.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. We got TikTok. We're on YouTube.
Yep, on YouTube too. Actually have got some good feedback from you guys on the socials. Like we said, we do look at this stuff, so we appreciate you guys engaging with us because we'll engage back. We totally will.
Yeah.
Follow our personal accounts, Bosher Ben on Twitter, Sam_Goodman or Sam_Goodman 18.
Goodman 18. There we go.
On Twitter over there. You can find all our stuff there. Check out our stuff at gridironheroics.com, all our articles. We appear on their podcast a good amount too to talk about the Lions. But yeah, we're still trying to get this thing rolling. We'll be back. Plan on having an episode out on Friday. That seems to be the direction this is heading. Podcast every Friday to preview the team we're playing on Sunday. We're trying to get a writer on. Still have to line that up for the Commanders game. I think after what I saw today, I really think we can beat the Commanders.
I think if we don't, then there's definitely a problem to address. That's for sure.
Yep, that's a good way to put it. All right, thank you guys for listening to this episode of Forward Down the Field.